Gemma Barker is an absolute master of disguise and deceit.
Gemma was like a blank piece of paper that you could do anything with.
I think she's devious. This took months of planning.
In 2009, 18-year-old student Gemma Barker invented 3 fictitious boys.
3 boys, 3 different names, 3 different personalities, 3 different styles. She was so clever, so clever.
In disguise as these boys, Gemma seduced 2 of her best friends.
You just don't think when you meet up with someone, do you? Like, oh, that's my friend dressed up.
None of it seemed credible. This was just lies upon lies. It was only because she fell asleep that the whole house of cards came tumbling down.
I thought, what do you mean, my boyfriend's a girl?
We were all gobsmacked, we were all hoodwinked, coppers as well.
She stole other people's pictures, put them on a new Facebook and renamed it. If Mark Zuckerberg did not invent Facebook, then none of this would ever happen. So he's to blame.
This is a story of sex and deception, a story that made headlines around the world. It's a story of a crime that begins on social networking sites. The victims were 2 innocent teenage girls. One of the victims was Jessica Sayers, who lives with her grandmother Mary in the sleepy home counties town of Weybridge in Surrey.
I was just like a normal 16-year-old. I went to school. I had GCSEs to revise for. I went out with my friends. I liked makeup. I went to the cinema. I loved Nando's, just like a normal 16-year-old would.
I started looking after Jess when she was 14 and a half. I didn't think I would ever go through teenage years again. We had our rows, we had our shouting and screaming, but we got through it.
So what are you going to do this weekend? Why don't you go do some knitting or nan things?
I could do, they're boring, that's for old people.
You're not 21.
She knew my feeling on boys. At 16, well, I knew it had to come. It could have happened when she was 14. I didn't think it was that heavy. Obviously, she did. She fell hopelessly in love with the person.
When she was 15, Jessica was best friends with a girl called Alice, who wishes to keep her real identity secret.
Jess only came to our school like in year 10. We were about 15 at the time, 16. I became really good friends with Jess, and then we kind of all started mingling together.
Alice was also good friends with fellow student Gemma Barker, though Gemma was 2 years older.
I was always better friends with Gemma, and then like Jess only became friends with her like after me, so I kind of introduced her to Gemma.
I didn't think anything of her really. She was a person that I just met, and she was older than us, and she could drive. So at that time, we obviously thought that she was a bit cooler than like some people our own age, because she could drive and we couldn't drive. We all got very close.
What did I think of her? I didn't really. I thought she was too old for them. And I did say to Jess, she's too old for you and she should have friends her own age. But Jess said, no, she was a friend of theirs and she's got a car. And they were going out and about, but she drove too fast. So I said to her, tell her to slow down or else I will.
Over the course of 2009, Jessica, Alice and Gemma became close friends. They spent much of their time online, communicating with one another on chat sites and through Facebook.
Because we were young, we always used to go on like MSN, which is like an instant messenger thing. One day I randomly got this like ad like from this guy called Aaron, and I said like, oh, hi, who are you? And he told me he was Aaron and that he lived in Epsom. We were just talking for like a couple months or whatever. He was like paying me loads of compliments like that, I'm so pretty and everything. He always used to be like, hi babe to me.
Aaron's Facebook page presented a picture of a fit and attractive young man, who, by strange coincidence, was also a friend of Gemma's.
I saw loads of photographs of Aaron. I thought he was quite good looking. A couple of months later, Gemma said that she actually knew him and that she went round his house all the time and like was seeing his older brother Jack. I'd never met him at this point.
Encouraged by Gemma, Alice began an online relationship with Aaron. But Alice wanted more. She needed to meet Aaron face to face.
It took a while. He wasn't very like keen about meeting up. I think eventually like he got into Aaron's head that he had to meet me, otherwise I wouldn't talk to him anymore.
Aaron Lampard finally agreed to meet Alice, stepping out of the virtual world and into the real world.
He was like, oh, I'm going to get a taxi to the park near yours. I'll text you when I'm there. We met at the park near my house, and that was the first time we met. He wore like dark, baggy clothes. He wore a hat. He was quite manly. In the way she walked, he walked, and everything, so I just didn't think anything of it. It wasn't until like a couple of weeks till he actually asked me out. He just said, do you actually want to be my girlfriend? And I was like, yeah. Yeah, I really liked him. I knew Gemma then for about 2 years and I didn't see any physical resemblance within Aaron at all. You just don't think when you meet up with someone, do you? Like, oh, that's my friend dressed up.
It's an incredible story. In terms of a tabloid story, this really had everything. It had 2 young, innocent victims, had a girl who dressed up as a boy and fooled the police. It's a story that kind of had everything. I'd been working on tabloid newspapers for the best part of 10 years, and it was one of the most intriguing, fascinating stories that I'd ever worked on.
Every new bit of information that came out made it even more bizarre. To consider that someone could attempt what Gemma Barker attempted, and that in itself seems pretty ridiculous. And then to be told that she did get away with it for so long, it seems unreal.
A network of friends. 3 girls. Alice, Jessica and Gemma. 1 boy, Aaron Lampard. It's 2009. And Alice and Aaron are now in a steady relationship. And as friends do, Alice introduced her new boyfriend to her best friend, Jessica.
Aaron was communicating with Jess on MSN and they always used to just talk about me and Jess would tell me everything that he would say, how he'd say really nice stuff about me. I was quite happy about it.
Aaron was like a best friend to me. But he was a boy, because obviously Alice is my girl best friend. He was my boy best friend. Me and him was very close. He would ring me every day, just like he would ring Alice every day. He just sounded like a normal chav, like a deep boy's voice, like, but not a boy's voice that are broken. Just like, if you interviewed a 15-year-old on the street right now, what they sounded like is what he sounded like. Like in terms of his voice sounded broken, but he still sounded like a boy. Aaron had dark brown hair. I'd say he was about 5'7", 5'8". He smelled like Sean Paul Gaultier. That's like a perfume for men. Whatever outfit he would wear, he would always accessorise it with the hat. And it was always that one hat. It would be one that you could pull on, but it had tassels all the way down and then like bubbles on the end. And then it had a pom-pom on the top of it. He would always wear it and he would never, ever, ever take it off.
I know people think it's weird that I never asked him to take his hat off, but I thought that maybe he might have lost his hair and that he was suffering from something like alopecia or something. I just thought something really bad happened to him, that he just didn't want to take it off. I did push him quite a lot, but I think I just gave up.
The only slightest physical resemblance that I had noticed between Gemma and Aaron was their teeth. Gemma has cheeks like a chipmunk, and that's not me insulting her. She just has the chubbiest cheeks, but so do I. But she has the most perfect straight teeth ever because she had braces, same as Aaron. Me and Alice once said to him, "You and Gemma just look like brother and sister. Are you sure you're not related?" Aaron said, No, we're not related at all. And then he just left my house and we did not know why. Then he takes us saying, "Sorry, I had to leave, I felt sick." I have a perfectly capable toilet of holding sick, so why wasn't he just not sick in my toilet?
Gemma was dating Aaron's older brother, Jack. So Gemma would always tell me things about what he would say about me, that he really loved me and everything. So she said that she saw him quite often. And she'd show me pictures of them on her phone. But I never met any of the family members. But most of them were all dying, so...
During the relationship, at any time that the relationship seemed in jeopardy or Aaron wasn't receiving enough attention, he would come up with a bold claim or some sort of tragic news. One was that his brother had drowned, and another one was that another brother had leukemia. This was just lies upon lies.
Not content with killing off Aaron's fictional relatives, Gemma decided that Jessica ought to have a boyfriend of her own. One new Facebook account later, and she'd created Luke Jones, a friend of Aaron and the ideal boy for Jessica.
Everybody's linked through Aaron. The day after Aaron and Alice got together, he said to me that his friend Luke wanted to talk to me. Aaron gave Luke my MSN address, so he added me, and then we was talking like that. He would send very flirtatious messages like, "You're so pretty." He was very convincing. We just started talking and talking more, and then we started to meet up. We just sit there and then we'd talk, and we'd hug, and we'd kiss. He appeared very chavvy. Like, he would have the spiked up hair, he would wear the snapbacks, the Nike Air Forces, the tracksuit bottoms, the hoodies, the Adidas jackets with the zip up, everything like that. He appeared very, very chavvy, and he spoke like a chav too.
So you saw his hair?
In pictures.
Or in pictures?
Yeah.
But when you actually met him in person?
He had a hat on. He was so different to Aaron, like, the whole personalities were so different, the way they walked were different, the way they spoke were different, the way they typed to me on MSN was different. Aaron would type in sentences properly. Luke would talk like a chav, like, he would, like, abbreviate all of his words to small words, like, if he was going to say like, he would put L-Y-K. Or if he was saying this, he'd put D-I-S, so it's like dis. Like, he would talk like an absolute idiot.
By the end of 2009, Gemma had two alter egos, Aaron Lampard and Luke Jones, complete with Facebook pages and networks of fictional friends. They each had a wardrobe and a personality of their own. It was a well-planned and well-prepared deceit.
Gemma Barker knew that Alice and Jessica were best friends, and she knew them over a number of years. And what she did to manipulate the situation was to speak to Jessica about what Alice liked in a boyfriend. She spoke to Alice what Jessica liked in a boyfriend, and from that she created the perfect characters to tempt both of them into having loving relationships with them.
Gemma Barker had spoken to the girls when they were all friends, and they, as girls do, had spoken about the ideal boys. And she then set out to create these ideal boys because she feared that she was going to lose them as friends, and that by creating these boyfriends, she would still be friends with them.
As Gemma's alter egos, Luke and Aaron, took centre stage, Gemma herself began to fade into the background.
Gemma told me and Jess that she'd got a full-time job, so she was always really tied up and busy, so... But I didn't really mind because I was having quite a good time with Aaron.
I knew Gemma because she was a year below me at school, and then after school we kind of had the same group of friends. A close friendship, a very close friendship. Looking at now, too close for comfort. I had her around my children, in my home, I let her into my life.
First met Gemma at college in September 2009. We both studied public services. We got put in the same class, and then from there we just became friends. I was studying to be a firewoman, and Gemma was studying to be a policewoman, or policeman. She always wanted to stand out from everyone else. You could always tell just by her attitude that she wanted to be the biggest one in the group.
When we were friends, she very rarely went to college anyway. So it struck me as she didn't want to be successful. And she always said, well, you know, I've got everything anyway. She was telling me her stepdad was in MI5 and she had a big house and a nice car and she'd have everything she wanted, so she didn't need to go to work. If Gemma wanted, all Gemma had to do was stomp her feet a little bit and she'd get it. She threatened to kill herself once and she was depressed, so her mum said to keep her, you know, what would make you happy, Gemma? And I remember Gemma telling me, a new car would keep me happy. So her mum got her a brand new car. It says it all, really.
Luke Jones was Jessica's very first boyfriend. He was a year older than Jessica and began to demand more out of their relationship.
I was very frigid as a teenager. I didn't want to do sexual things. I was scared, I didn't know what to do, I was embarrassed. And I was fine with kissing, but I didn't want anything more, not at 15. We never ever had sex or anything like that, but he would always put his hands down my skirt, down my trousers, and he would always insert them in me, and I would say, no, stop, and he would never stop. So I was getting very fed up, very upset by it, because I did like him.
Gemma had got it wrong. She'd miscalculated what Jessica liked in a boy. Luke the chav wasn't working. He had to go.
It ended when I went on holiday. Whilst I was away, he went off with another girl on New Year's Eve. He went off with this girl that went to my school as well, and I was very upset because I knew I liked him, still liked him after everything he had done, and yet she went off with him. So now he was her boyfriend.
Hang on, is she real?
Yeah.
But Luke isn't.
No. So he said that he met at an ice rink, but she told me she had never, ever, ever met him in person. So they had like an internet relationship.
Hurt by Luke's betrayal, Jessica made her feelings known on Facebook. But a new boy, Connor McCormack, was ready to take Luke's place.
Connor came into the scene the day Luke went off with. He added me on MSN. He would say to me that I was a very nice girl and I didn't deserve anything that Luke had done to me, because he said Luke had told him all the sexual things that he'd done to me, and when I said no, he didn't stop, and he wished he had stopped. So that's how Connor was first introduced, because he was like feeling sorry for me. Then we began to get closer and closer as the weeks went on. Connor was like a shoulder to cry on. I was really upset that Luke went off, very, very upset. And he was there to like stop me being upset. He was there to really help, and that's why we got so close.
Jessica started a brand new relationship with Connor McCormack, a boy she had only ever seen on Facebook.
Jess spoke about him all the time. At the time, Jess liked Justin Bieber and Connor had the Justin Bieber hair, and that was kind of like the thing that she liked about him. I remember he'd said that his dad worked for Simon Cowell and he could get her tickets and stuff.
He had Justin Bieber hair, and at 15 you're gonna be like, oh my god, that's so good, because everyone loves Justin Bieber at 15 anyway, not anymore. And then he had the flicky fringe that swooped over his face. He wore shirts that like buttoned all the way to the top. He wore skinny jeans. He wore high top trainers. He was very fashionable and very good looking.
What do you describe there? You describe his picture or him?
The picture. I seen his face on Facebook because he had the Facebook profiles, so I knew what he'd look like. I started speaking to him more and more and more, that we eventually met up on the 26th of January. I used to meet Connor under the tree, which is on the green outside my house. In person, he would not dress up as much as he would in his pictures, but he would still look nice. But I never ever saw his face again because he would wear the hat. Connor would wear a hat, like a hiking hat, and then he would wear like the hoodie over the top, but the hoodie would be so baggy on him, it would come down to like there, like just covering his face, but then the hat would be pulled right down, and all I would see was like that. So if you're looking at me like this, you can't see my eyes, you can probably just see from like my nose sort of down. That is all I ever saw of him, because he said he had alopecia and he was a very shy person and didn't want to ruin things. And my brother had alopecia, so I know how that can affect someone's confidence, and I wouldn't be horrible and say take it off. He was so different to all of the others, like nothing like any boy I've ever met. He was so caring, so very, very cute and so nice. And that's all girls want, is a nice boyfriend. That's all they want.
She was always on about Connor this and Connor that. He was always texting her, phoning her. Yes, she was besotted, really.
He gave me a gold chain and was like, will you be my girlfriend? But he texted it like that because obviously Connor don't talk. It was just by text. And I was like, yeah, I will. No, I really did like him, so if he spoke or not, I'd still say yeah.
I'm just struggling with something here. So he was there in person?
Yeah.
In the flesh?
Yeah.
And he's texting you?
Yeah, he did that all the time. Never spoke. It was always like, if you get your phone out, I'd be like, right, hi Norman, can you go make me a cup of tea? And I'll show you that, and God meant to come make me tea. And then you would reply back verbally, and I'd be like, thanks for the tea. Like that. Yeah.
Don't you find that a bit odd?
Yeah, but he said he was shy.
Connor McCormack was a boy who never spoke. A boy who never showed his face. But still, Jessica fell in love with him.
She really, really, really liked him. Like, really liked him. But he was, like, quite a shy person as well. Like, maybe that's just the way some boys are.
On a purely logical basis, Gemma must have spent a lot of time planning it. There were the various characters. They each had to have a specific identity. That identity was defined by not just behaviour, but by clothing. And she had to be aware of the details which could have given her away if she crossed the boundary between one character and another, if she was with the wrong person.
Jessica and Alice may well have found true love, but their friends were sceptical.
Multiple times I said to Jess, you and Alice are idiots. I was constantly saying, why are you even talking to them? You've met them through MSN and Facebook and things. You shouldn't be talking to them in the first place. When the boys added everyone on Facebook, they added loads of people at once to obviously look like they had loads of friends, but they didn't actually have many pictures. It was all pictures from the same time. I first realised that it was kind of ridiculous when Luke, Aaron and Connor all lived in these massive houses in St George's Hill.
St George's Hill in Weybridge is a gated, guarded private estate, home to the rich and famous.
To live in St George's Hill, you must be very, very well off. Celebrities live in St George's Hill. Cliff Richard and footballers live there, not just well-off people.
Me and Alice used to always sit here at like till 4 in the morning waiting for them. We would text them, ask them if they're coming, and they would just say, we're nearly there, we're nearly there. And they would say that to us all night. So we sat here for like 7 hours till 4 in the morning waiting for them, and they would never ever come. I wanted to knock on the door, and a few times I did, but a few times they never answered. But on the last time that I knocked, they answered, and that's when I found out that Connor didn't live there. Connor told me that the maid would have to say that he doesn't live there just for security reasons, because that's what his mum and dad had instructed. And I obviously believed it then, but now I know it's a load of lies.
It does say something about Gemma that in creating the characters, she's given them addresses which are in the playground of the rich and famous and could be seen to be trying to impress. And if you believe the defence that was put forward in court, that she was doing all of this out of a desire to please them and out of a desire not to lose them as friends, then she would be going over the top in coming up with a story that would please them, make them happy, impress them, and this would fit right into that agenda.
Despite the girls being left waiting out in the cold, in the bedroom, things were getting hotter.
When we obviously first had sex, I thought it was normal to like not want to take your clothes off and be in complete darkness. It's embarrassing, like it's the first time, like I didn't really know what to expect. I don't think he did either. But he was nice about it. He didn't hurt me, so he was nice. He gave me pleasure. I thought it was normal to want to keep all your clothes on and your hat.
Alice may have thought it normal to have sex wearing a hat. But in May 2010, she made a shocking discovery.
It was just like a normal evening. He was in my brother's bedroom playing Lego with him, and he asked me to find his keys for him. And he told me they were on the side, but they weren't, so I just thought, oh, I'll just look in his bag. And I just saw this, like, pink dildo in there, and I just completely freaked out. When he came in, I think he knew something was wrong. My face was just completely white. He said that he used it on me once, and that was it. I just felt so upset. You don't expect that to happen like for like your first time.
Alice was shocked and confused. Her relationship with Aaron shaken and uncertain. But Connor was still seeing Jessica. On May the 9th, Connor asked Jessica if he could stay the night.
That was the day that Connor's nan died. So he said to me, can I please stay over? And I was like, yeah, sure. I'll ask my nan first, but I can't see a problem with it. I asked my nan. She doesn't normally say yes because I was young. Boys weren't meant to be in my house until I'm married in her eyes. So she said yes though, because of the circumstances, like Connor's nan had just died.
She was 16, and I said, I don't mind him over. What's he over for? She still, we got a lot to talk about. I said, OK, just one rule. Keep your hand on your halfpenny and he keeps his pecker in his pants and I'll allow it.
As we were sitting on the wall, he texted on his phone saying, tell your nan I've lost my voice because I'm shy. And I was like, OK. So as he walked up to my house, he said, he pointed and he went, as if to point, is that where my bedroom is? And I said, yeah, that's my bedroom. I unlocked the door, walked around.
I said, all right, no answer. I said, a bit ignorant. And he marched straight into the bedroom. And I went in there and I saw him sitting there. He was on the edge of the bed. And I said, you do know you can take your hat off in my house. It doesn't rain inside. And he just grunted. And I thought, don't like him very much.
It was getting late and later, and we were just hugging and kissing in bed. But then he went under the duvet and he took my pyjama shorts off and my knickers and unbuttoned my leotard and threw my pants and my shorts on the floor. And that's when he started to do oral sex on me. And I was saying, no, can you stop, please? My nan's in the next room. This is disrespectful behaviour. This can't be happening. So I was saying no, and he didn't stop. But then he was getting aggressive, and he was inserting more and more fingers into me. And I was saying no, stop, because I was in a lot of pain. And he wouldn't stop. No matter how much I begged him to stop, he was not stopping. As I tried to move myself back, I felt something hard go into me. I didn't know what it was, because I'd never experienced sex before, so I did not know. I had nothing to compare it to. And I was in so much pain, and I was screaming, Connor, can you fucking stop? I said that like 3 times, and he wouldn't stop him. And then he finally stopped. But as he stopped, my phone rang, and it was Alice. And then I was talking to Alice, and she knew something was wrong with me. She could tell by the tone of my voice something was wrong. After that, Connor got the phone, and he typed on the phone, tell Alice Aaron's been in a car accident.
That was in the same week when I found the dildo. I wasn't really getting on with Aaron very well, so we didn't really have much contact. So I was just like so upset and shocked and like, I don't even know what to say.
I was like, yeah, Connor just told me he's been in a car accident. And then Connor was typing on his phone saying, tell her he's gone through the windscreen. Tell her he's on a life support machine. I was telling Alice all this, and she was so hysterical. She was crying her eyes out because her boyfriend, could be dead for all she knows. She doesn't know what's going on.
She said, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I don't know. I just felt so upset.
He fell asleep, and there was no way I was going to be able to sleep after what he'd done. I had a gut instinct that something was not right. So I turned over to look at his face, and all I saw was the side profile of Aaron. I was so shocked. How can Alice's boyfriend, who's meant to be in hospital, be in my bed?
Jessica was convinced she had just been sexually assaulted by Aaron Lampard.
I kept it to myself. I thought it was the best thing to do. In the morning, I jumped out of bed straight away, got changed behind my dressing table so he couldn't see me naked. And then I pushed him and I went, get up now, you've got to go. As I opened the door, I pushed him out of the front door and he walked across the green, went to walk home. From that moment forward, Connor disappeared and I've not heard from him since. Completely disappeared. Gone forever.
I got up about 7 in the morning, went into the bedroom, and I said to Jess, oh, where's Connor? She went, oh, he had to go. I said, well, bleed now, he beat me up, and I thought I got up early. She said, oh, he's been gone about half an hour. I went, oh, right, and that was it. Never mentioned him anymore after that. Funny fella. Well.
Connor McCormack disappeared, but Aaron Lampard turned up the next day, bold as brass, in Alice's parents' car.
The next day, my dad had come to pick me up from school, and Aaron was actually in the car with him, and I was so annoyed. He had no cuts and bruises on him at all, nothing. He just told me that he had whiplash. Just told me quietly. She just said, I don't know how to tell you this, but I think it was Aaron that was there that night. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, he was in hospital, wasn't he? Like, you just wouldn't think someone would lie about that. And then the police got involved.
Jessica went to the police and accused Alice's boyfriend of sexual assault. The police paid Alice a visit to find out more about Aaron Lampard.
Aaron was actually at my house. Aaron was like really shocked. I just said to him, well, if you were in hospital, just give them the discharge form, it's not that hard. And he was like, oh, I can't find it. And I was like, well, what are you going to do? Because you're going to get in big trouble.
Aaron continued to protest his innocence. Then, in a bizarre twist, Luke Jones confessed to the crime.
There was a conversation on Facebook where Luke said it was him that had done it and Aaron's getting the blame, but it was Luke.
You have a woman pretending to be a man. You have police searching for a suspect who doesn't exist, a male suspect who doesn't exist. He's alleged to have impersonated another male who doesn't exist. And then you have another male who doesn't exist getting in touch and saying, I did it. If the consequences weren't so tragic for the two girls, it would almost be like a 17th, 18th century French farce.
Aaron had given the police a false address, so Alice agreed to meet Aaron down by the river. But the police turned up instead.
That's when they actually arrested him as Aaron.
He got in the car, and that's when they locked the doors and said they was going to take him into Staines police station just to investigate it. And she must have been panicking so much, because when they went in there, that's when they strip searched her. She refused to take off the hat, the famous hat that they all wore. She refused to take it off, so they held her down and pulled it off. And that's when her hair all came down. And DC Fiona Clare said, "You're a girl." Aaron was not Aaron, Connor was not Connor, and Luke was not Luke. It was all Gemma.
I don't think it really sunk in at first. I just thought, well, what do you mean my boyfriend's a girl? Like, it didn't add up until, like, I started to think about it, like, months and months and months in, that it actually all did make sense. I said to my own parents, does that make me a lesbian? Am I still a virgin? Like, I didn't understand where that made me stand.
And everyone's saying, how can me and Alice not have known? Well, if police staff who have been trained high enough to act the CID, if they did not know, how was a 15-year-old girl meant to know who studied drama at school? How am I meant to know?
The relationships between both Aaron and Alice and Jessica and Connor were roughly the same length, and they spanned from around November 2009 until May 2010. What I can't understand is why, when the police did get involved, Gemma Barker did not simply drop these alter egos. She could simply have wiped them off the face of the earth as easily as she created them, and then carried on as Gemma Barker. And nobody seemingly would have been any the wiser. But she decided not to do that. She decided, in fact, to go the other way and simply to make up more and more lies. In the middle of all of this, and heaven only knows why, she then claimed that she had been assaulted by Luke Jones. She claimed that he had punched her, it had broken her jaw, and she then submitted a claim for compensation to the Criminal Injuries Compensation Board. And so as a result, she got charged with fraud, which is something that she admitted in court. And again, that is something that she could so easily have avoided.
I don't think she thought she would get caught out. Maybe she thought she could stop it before it all got out of hand. I personally think that she did it once and then she obviously got too caught up in it and it all just got out of control really, but I think she kind of enjoyed what she was doing and then that's why she carried on doing it, because she felt like a leader in the relationship. She felt like she could control the girls that she was doing it to in a way.
She wasn't a bad person. I don't know why Gemma did it. Gemma could have been in love with Alice. She could have been in love with Jess. Attention. Maybe she was a lesbian, that was the only way of feeling like she could come out. But if she was a lesbian and she was finding it hard to come out, then why not write your friend a letter? Or, you know, if they're meant to be your friend, you should be able to tell them. I wouldn't mind.
I don't know if she's gay. I don't know if that's why she was doing it and she was scared to come out. I don't know. But then I would have thought, knowing that she knows that I'm gay, she could have just spoke to me about it, or like, I don't know, it's really confusing.
She fooled everybody. Like, she fooled you, everybody. I'm just glad I told you when I did, because then, like, you stopped her seeing your children, which then made sure they were safe.
As soon as, obviously, it all come out, what happened, and...
Everything makes sense.
Yeah, it all makes sense, it all falls into place.
Yeah.
What she'd done...
It took so much planning.
It took planning, it took guts.
And money, everything.
Yeah.
Gemma had, like, 3 phones, 3 MSN accounts, 3 Facebooks, everything. She had a lot of time on her hands, a lot of time. All the time, I was still seeing Connor. Connor was hurting me, but blaming somebody else. We started off really well, like he was a perfect boyfriend. And then as the time went on, he started to assault me more and more, like till it got really, really bad. But whenever he would do it, he would say it wasn't him. Even though I know it would be Connor, he would always say, oh no, it was Luke. And then it would somehow come out that Connor was actually at home and then Luke dressed up as Connor to touch me inappropriately. So I'd never be cross at Connor, I'd always be mad at other people. So Gemma knew that she could always come back to me as Connor because I'd never be angry at Connor, I'd always be angry at the others.
Right.
Throughout the relationships with Luke and Connor, I was the one that got abused. I was the one that, whenever I said no, they would still do it. They abused Alice to the extent of she never gave permission for a girl to do it, but she was never forced into anything. She never said no, and they never carried on. She was always respected. So I honestly believe Gemma loved Alice, and I honestly believe, and anyone that knows me and knows Gemma can tell you that she definitely did hate me. She just didn't want Alice to know because she knows Alice was closer to me than her. Me and Alice were always the best friends, and that's what Gemma hated.
In March 2012, Gemma pleaded guilty to 2 counts of sexual assault and 1 of fraud.
I've never come across a defendant like her. Even when she was sentenced, she simply got up and walked out. That's something that the judge commented on himself, was the fact that she seemed to have shown no remorse. And he said, in fact, I think he used the expression that we've seen not a flicker of emotion. He suggested that the girls had been abused at a time when, as all teenagers are at that age, they're exploring, they're starting to learn about themselves, and they're making choices. They're developing emotionally, mentally, physically, sexually. And Gemma Barker came along and exploited their natural vulnerabilities that any child of that age has.
Before sentencing, the judge ordered a psychiatric report on Gemma. The report found that Gemma had borderline learning disability and difficulty understanding social situations. There was no evidence of personality disorder, but she was diagnosed with autistic spectrum disorder. Gemma was sent to prison for 2.5 years.
I did love him. I would say he was my first love. And I know Connor is not real. In my head, he's still real, and in my heart, he's still real, because I can't forget the memories that we shared, and I can't forget them feelings that I felt. He will always be my first love, even though he's not real. Which people might think I'm crazy for, but unless you've been in that position, you'll never know what it's like to love somebody, and then with the click of the fingers, they're gone. He's never coming back. He will never come back, ever. It's like he's died.
Do you think that Gemma was in love with you?
Well, I don't know. She was a good friend to me as Gemma, but I wouldn't like to say. As Aaron, yeah. but I know they're the same person, so maybe. I don't know how else someone could, like, pretend that kind of feeling, if you know what I mean.
Now, how are you now? You in a happy relationship?
Yeah, happy now.
And you've got a real boyfriend now?
Yeah, I've got a real one.
I met Jess through a friend on Facebook, and then I clicked on her and I added her as a friend, and we started messaging each other, you know, just a simple hello, how are you, just being really friendly. And then we started talking more and more every day, started texting and started phone calling, and then it just sort of progressed over the space of maybe 2 weeks before we actually met up with each other.
He's definitely a boy, because his previous girlfriends are people that I do know, so I 100% knew he was a real boy. So that's why I wasn't scared. He's a boy. He's got boy parts.